All right, Clayton, after the show, it's time for the After BO. Welcome to the After BO web exclusive on the BO Boys YouTube network. Of course, we just did an episode talk about the opening weekend of Mean Girls, opening weekend of Beekeeper, talked about the Nev Campbell situation, but we wanted to talk very quickly about the awards race. Clayton, last night was the Critics' Choice Awards, and head to head in Best Actor, Paul Giamatti stomped out Killian Murphy on stage, won Best Actor. Again, one on one. Globes, they each won separately. Giamatti won
Mhm.
comedy, Murphy won drama, but they were head to head in the Critics' Choice. Giamatti won, made another great speech. The industry loves him, the town loves him. Has this swayed you at all? Where last week you were out here saying that it was a slam doink, Murphy was going to win, and
Not my
Giamatti
words.
chance, and you saying I was being emotional for thinking otherwise.
That's true. You were. You still are.
Giamatti beat him head to head. So where do you see the state of this race now?
Okay, so here's what I'll say because you also have to mention Emma Stone beat Lily
Mm-hmm.
Gladstone. It was
Mm-hmm.
the Battle of the Stones.
Yep.
So, the biggest Battle of the Stones since your stones and your kidneys.
Yeah.
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 So hopefully it's not as painful this battle. But okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk Giamatti real fast. Okay, I making it seem like I said there's no chance. Okay. Here's what I'm going to say is that when it comes to the Oscars, the Academy usually makes the Cillian Murphy decision. They pick the least interesting person. And I think that is what they're still going to do. Now, Giamatti's making it a race. This is definitely a race. I think this is more of a race than lead actress,
Oh,
honestly.
yeah. I think it's
Um,
the only one of the 4 acting categories that's a real race.
Yes. Giamatti's killing it with the speeches. You know, I'm the speech king. The speech is king. So I follow the speeches very closely. He is killing it, of course, because he's a guy who has a way with people. Cillian Murphy does not necessarily have a way with people unless it's, maybe one on one. He might be a nice guy. Who knows? Maybe he's a monster. I don't know. But this is definitely a race. I still think they're going to go with the boring option. I would love if Giamatti won. God, I'd love to be so wrong here. I would
Right.
love to be so wrong here, but I don't think I'm wrong. I think Cillian Murphy is going to get it. I think the critics loved the holdovers. They love Giamatti,
But they
as they
loved
should.
Oppenheimer, they gave Oppenheimer Best Picture
True.
and
I mean,
Downey supporting. It's not like this was a not critics movie. I mean, Oppenheimer is the definition of a critical
oh,
darling.
absolutely. But here's the thing. Okay, here's what we can, I think, agree on. Nolan has wrapped it up for director. He's getting director, right?
Yeah, it feels that way, yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. is getting Best Supporting Actor.
That's a doink,
Slam
yeah.
doink.
That's a
Okay.
doink, yeah. Melton
Bradley.
didn't get the nomination for SAG. All that talk about him being a spoiler is done, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's locked in the Criterion closet right now, picking out DVDs. That's listen. That's as good as a nomination, right?
Yeah.
Getting to go into the Criterion closet and pick out all those movies, great for him. Okay.
Yeah.
But good luck next time, buddy. Uh, I think those are the 2 slam dunks for Oppenheimer. Of course, I think, we'll score, stuff like that, cinematography, right, those
Right,
things,
right.
right?
Right.
But above the line, the Oscars, that should be bigger. We all know the below the line Oscars should be smaller than the above the line Oscars.
Mhm.
Um, I do think that the Giamatti, Cillian thing is gonna be a race. I think Cooper's out of it. I'm gonna say it. Cooper is out of it.
I here's what
Zero
I'll say.
chance.
Here's
Zero
what I'll
chance.
say. Here's what I'll say. Cooper not getting the Best Actor nomination, I don't think is off the table at this point.
Yeah,
Him
he
getting
could get
fully
snubbed.
snubbed for the nomination, I think is possible.
Director and actor, he could be completely snubbed. He's not gonna get into to director.
I think right now he's running 4th. I would say right now it's
4th in
Murphy.
director?
No, in
Oh,
Best Actor.
in actor.
I would
He's
say
out of
right
director.
now it's Murphy and Giamatti to me are tied for one. They're fighting it out. I think number 3 is Jeffrey Wright. I think Jeffrey Wright is the third lock in Best Actor.
Uh-huh.
And I think Cooper is fourth and Leo's fifth, and fourth and fifth are squishy in that you could have your beloved Andrew Scott and you could have, I mean, it's not going to be Zac Efron, but I do think those are the three people battling for the last two spots. I don't think
Mhm.
Cooper's a lock anymore.
No, no. And listen, and we've talked about, and you kind of hit me for, well, you say the Globes shouldn't matter, and all of a sudden you change your mind with the Globes. I stick with, here's what I want to explain to people who are listening to this and
Right.
watching this.
Because you put a lot of weight on the Globes last week.
But the
Uh,
Globes shouldn't matter, but they do to the people who vote. Okay.
okay.
They shouldn't matter, but they do. Those are the facts. Now, in a perfect world, and dude, after that show that got lambasted and Joe Coy got run out of town, now he's back selling out stand-up clubs, whatever that is, the lowest rung of show business, right?
Right.
Uh the Golden Globes could be gone for good
It
after this.
Listen, we're not the Streamo boys, huh?
Huh?
But it did do a pretty decent rating. It did about 9.5 million live viewers that night, doubled what it did the year before on the Tuesday night on NBC. I think the Globes are going to be around.
Okay.
It did
Well,
well. The Globes are going to be around.
in a perfect world, the Critics' Choice Awards take that slot. That's the
Yeah.
slot that is taken. Get rid of the Golden Globes. Critics' Choice is where the Golden Globes are. That's what it should be. That's my hope for the future. Golden Globes extinct. Critics' Choice becomes a new Golden Globes. The fun sort of, the fun night for everybody to have before the Oscars, right? But the Globes shouldn't matter, but they do, right? The perception of someone winning a Globe means more than it should, but it still means a lot. All right. Now, I do think Critics' Choice is coming up with that. It's like coming up now as like a legitimate, this is interesting. SAG is going to be the telling.
Right.
SAG is where it's at. If Emma Stone wins at SAG, then we have like a legitimate race. And
Yeah.
I don't think she's gonna.
I
Okay.
don't think she's gonna. What about in Best Actor?
Yeah.
Like
If
if
Giamatti wins SAG, then it's I mean, it's not a slam dunk by any means, but then that would spin my head a little bit.
I do think if Giamatti wins at SAG, it's over and he's
The
won it.
momentum would be too, I mean,
The
well, the
momentum,
reason
because
being,
he is beloved
eh, eh,
by the people who vote,
but
and
also
I do think if he wins
technically,
SAG, it's over. I think if Murphy wins SAG, he's obviously the clear favorite, but I also don't think it's over for Giamatti at the Oscars. But I think if he wins at SAG, it's over and he will win Best Actor.
because technically the SAG union that I am in bad standing, I'm a member in bad standing. It is a large chunk of the populace who votes for the Oscars, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So not everybody, but where it goes, it's more indicative of what the Oscar voters are going to do than the Critics' Choice or Golden Globes, right?
Yes,
So
definitely.
that's why it's so important. Okay. But sometimes they'll do things where they'll give ensemble to a movie they know is not going to win Best Picture because they just want to give them award because they know we're going to vote Oppenheimer at the Oscars, but here you can have this award,
Right, right,
Barbie. No offense to Barbie, but here's your award, Barbie, because we're
right,
going to give this to Oppenheimer at the Oscars. So I do think that Giamatti wins this. The momentum's going to be so on his side, right? If Cillian wins and he gives another shitty speech, and I know people said they like the lipstick on the nose. Fuck
yeah,
that. That
yeah,
was a horrible speech. He's a boring motherfucker. And I'm saying that on the after BO. Okay.
right. You never
Uh
say that on the
never say that on
podcast.
a regular podcast. But I'm feeling a little frisky right now.
Yeah,
So I think that if he comes and gives a boring speech, then it's still open for Giamatti. That's the
yes.
one legitimate acting race for real.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless Emma Stone wins a SAG, then that does start to feel like more of a race. But even after Emma Stone winning the Critics' Choice, that doesn't feel like a race yet.
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
Um, Yeah, did you watch anything else on the Critics' Choice Awards? Did you catch anything? Barbie
Oh,
won Best Comedy, American Fiction won a Screenplay Award, and Barbie won a
yes,
Screenplay Award, but they'll be
that
up
was
against
new.
each other for the Oscars
Mhm.
because they'll be both adapted for the Oscars, so that's pretty interesting.
I'm Just Ken won for best song, which would be fun. I mean, I think this is Billie Eilish's, award to lose,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that'd be a fun twist.
Yeah, definitely, and I
I mean,
think there's something about Gosling's not gonna win supporting actor against
yeah.
Downey, and he doesn't get the Oscar if I'm Just Ken wins, but there is almost a little bit of voters thinking, "Okay, we're giving this to Gosling if we
Yeah.
gave I'm Just Ken the Best Song award."
Yeah.
You almost want him to go up and accept it.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
I mean, he didn't for this one, but they'll definitely bring him up if they win the Oscar. And Mark Ronson, who was the producer, he went up there and, he shouted him out from the stage. He said, this is your award as much as it's ours." So
yeah,
I do think that would be fun. And listen, does he sing at the Oscars? That I mean,
has to, has to,
has to. How
has to.
fun would that be?
Has to. And I think you get Jack Black up there to sing I'm Just Ken with him because
He got
the Super
snubbed.
Mario Brothers song didn't make the long list, so it is not going to be up for best song.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get Jack Black in there as one of the Kens to sing I'm Just Ken.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like it's all the, real Kens from the movie, and then Jack Black is trying to pretend to be a Ken.
Yes, yes,
And they're all
yes.
like, "You're not a Ken." And he's
Yeah,
like, "Oh."
yeah. And then he's like, I'm Just Ken. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll
yeah,
be
yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
Um, all right. I think that is more than enough for a web exclusive. So we will be following the Oscar race both on the main feed and here on the After BO. So that's it. Thanks for watching the latest After BO.